The elegant ballroom of the Grand Plaza Hotel buzzed with conversation and fake laughter. My father's 60th birthday celebration was exactly what my stepmother Victoria wanted. A show of wealth and influence, with hundreds of guests from the city's elite business circle. I adjusted my simple black dress, feeling out of place among the designer gowns and custom suits. At the registration table, Victoria's personal assistant handed me my name tag with a smirk. There it was in elegant calligraphy, the disappointment. Not Emily Parker. Not founder of Parker Technologies. Just the disappointment. Victoria's idea, the assistant whispered, barely containing her amusement. She thought it would be fitting. I pinned the tag to my dress, my fingers steady despite the fury building inside me. For 10 years I'd endured their mockery. Ever since I refused to join my father's investment firm and instead started my own tech company, I'd been branded the family failure. The fact that they didn't know Parker Technologies was now worth billions wasn't an accident. I'd kept my success hidden, operating through shell companies and maintaining my privacy. To them, I was still the stubborn daughter who'd walked away from a guaranteed future. Oh look, the disappointment finally arrived. Victoria's voice carried across the room as she approached, champagne in hand. Her red designer dress probably cost more than what they thought I made in a year. I wasn't sure you'd have the courage to show up. I smiled politely. I wouldn't miss Dad's birthday. How sweet. She gestured to my dress. TJ Maxx having a sale? Before I could respond, my father appeared. At 60, he still commanded attention, his presence forcing people to step aside as he walked through the crowd. He barely glanced at me before frowning at my name tag. Well, he said, at least it's accurate. Victoria laughed, that high-pitched sound that always set my teeth on edge. I told you it was perfect, darling. Everyone should know exactly who she is. Guests nearby tried to hide their smirks. I caught fragments of their whispered conversations. Can you believe she turned down a partnership? Living in some tiny apartment. Such a waste of potential. I reached for a champagne glass from a passing waiter. 10 years of this. 10 years of snide remarks, of being the cautionary tale at family gatherings, of watching Victoria systematically erase every trace of my mother from my father's life. Speech time. Victoria announced, tapping her glass. Everyone gather round. The birthday boy has some words of wisdom to share. The crowd assembled and I found myself pushed to the back. My father took center stage, looking every bit the successful CEO he was. Thank you all for coming, he began. Success, as I've always said, is about making the right choices. Looking around this room, I see people who understood that. People who grabbed opportunities. His eyes found me in the crowd, unlike some who chose to waste them. More knowing chuckles from the audience. Victoria beamed with satisfaction. When I think about my legacy, he continued, I'm proud to say my firm is stronger than ever. Though I had hoped for my daughter to carry on the family name in business, well... He shrugged, earning more laughs. Something snapped inside me. 10 years of silence felt suddenly too heavy to bear. I stepped forward, raising my glass. I'd like to make a toast, I said, my voice clear and strong. Victoria's smile faltered. Emily, dear, the floor belongs to your father. To new beginnings, I continued, ignoring her. And to the last time you'll ever see me. The room went silent. My father choked on his champagne. Emily. Victoria hissed. Don't you dare make a scene. I unpinned my name tag and dropped it into my champagne glass. You wanted to label me? Fine. But you should have done your research first. From my clutch, I pulled out a single envelope and placed it on the gift table. Happy birthday, Dad. Inside that envelope is my last gift to you. And the real reason you'll never see me again. As I walked toward the exit, Victoria's voice rang out. Running away again? Proving us right about what a disappointment you are. I paused at the door, turning back one final time. No, Victoria. I'm not running away. I'm walking away. There's a difference. I smiled. Oh, and you might want to check tomorrow's business news. The disappointment has a surprise for you all. The door closed behind me, cutting off their confused murmurs. In my car, I pulled out my phone and sent a pre-prepared text to my CO. Execute Operation Phoenix. It's time. Tomorrow they would learn exactly what the disappointment had been building all these years. And that name tag would become the most expensive mistake they'd ever made. The morning after the party, I sat in my real office. The entire top floor of the city's newest skyscraper. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a perfect view of my father's investment firm across the street. The same firm that would be mine by closing bell today. "It's done," my CEO James announced as he walked in. "The press release just went out. Every major financial network is picking up the story." I turned on the wall of screens in my office, each displaying a different news channel. The headlines were exactly as planned. Tech giant Parker Technologies acquires Sterling Investments. Emily Parker, the silent billionaire behind market's biggest takeover. Daughter's revenge. Hostile takeover of father's company. My phone started buzzing incessantly. "Victoria. Dead. They're lawyers. Business associates." I ignored them all. "Miss Parker," my assistant Sarah interrupted. "Your father and stepmother are in the lobby. They're quite insistent about seeing you." I checked my watch. "Let them wait 15 minutes, then bring them up." Those 15 minutes were delicious torture for them, I knew. Through the security feed, I watched as Victoria paced the lobby, her designer heels clicking frantically on the marble floor. My father sat rigid in a leather chair, his face ashen as he stared at the massive Parker Technologies logo on the wall. When they were finally escorted into my office, the contrast between us couldn't have been starker. They looked disheveled, clearly having rushed here straight from reading the news. I, on the other hand, sat perfectly composed in a tailored suit that cost more than Victoria's entire wardrobe. "What is the meaning of this?" Dad demanded, waving his phone with the news headlines. "Business," I replied coolly. "Isn't that what you always taught me? Seize opportunities, eliminate competition." "You can't do this," Victoria stuttered. "Sterling Investments has been in the family for generations." Correction, it was in the family. Now it's part of Parker Technologies. I pulled up the acquisition documents on my screen. Over the past 5 years, I've been quietly buying shares through various shell companies. Yesterday, we crossed the threshold for a controlling interest. My father sank into a chair. The envelope at the party was my resignation from the board of directors. I smiled. "Oh, did I forget to mention? I've been a silent board member for 3 years, through one of my holding companies. Watching, learning, planning." "This is impossible," he whispered. "Your company, they said it's worth 12 billion at last valuation," I finished for him. "That tiny apartment you thought I lived in? I own the building. That struggling startup you mocked? It's now one of the largest tech conglomerates in the country." Victoria's face had turned an interesting shade of pale. But you never showed any signs of success. You drove a normal car, lived modestly." "Because success isn't about showing off, Victoria. It's about building something meaningful." I stood up, walking to the window. "While you were busy planning parties and choosing degrading name tags, I was creating an empire." "We can fix this," Dad started, his business instincts kicking in. "Come back to Sterling, take your rightful place dash." "My rightful place?" I turned sharply. "You mean the place you said I didn't deserve? The position you claimed I'd waste? That place?" "Emily, please," he tried again. "We're family." "Family?" I laughed. "Family doesn't humiliate each other at birthday parties. Family doesn't spend a decade tearing down their child's dreams. And family certainly doesn't label their daughter, the disappointment, in front of hundreds of people." I pressed a button on my desk and security appeared at the door. "The board meets at 2 p.m., I stated. "Your presence is required for the announcement of your retirement, Dad." After all, Parker Technologies has a strict policy against keeping disappointments in leadership positions. As security escorted them out, Victoria turned back. "You'll regret this. You can't just dash." "Actually, I can." And I did. I held up a familiar name tag. "By the way, I had this framed. It'll look perfect in my new office. The one across the street in what used to be your building." The door closed on their shocked faces and I allowed myself a moment to savor the victory. But this wasn't just about revenge. It was about proving that success doesn't always look like what others expect it to. 3 months after the takeover, Sterling Investments had been completely transformed. The old-fashioned offices were modernized, the outdated systems replaced, and the toxic corporate culture dismantled. But most importantly, the truth about my father's management had come to light. I sat in what used to be his office, reviewing the forensic audit reports. Years of questionable deals, hidden accounts, and suspicious transactions, all carefully concealed under a veneer of traditional success. Victoria's extravagant lifestyle had been funded by more than just legitimate business. "Ms. Parker," Sarah announced through the intercom, "the FBI agents are here for their final review." I looked up as 2 federal agents entered. "Agent Morrison, Agent Chin. I trust you found everything in order." "More than in order," Agent Morrison replied, placing a thick file on my desk. "The documentation you provided has been instrumental. Your father and stepmother will be facing serious charges." "When will they be arrested?" I asked, my voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Tomorrow morning," Agent Chin answered. "We wanted to give you advance notice, considering I'm the one who exposed them?" I finished. "Don't worry. I made my peace with this decision 3 months ago." After they left, I walked to the window, remembering the day I discovered the truth. It had been during my silent board membership, buried deep in company files, evidence of my father's involvement in money laundering, tax evasion, and fraud. The empire he'd been so proud of, the success he'd lorded over me, was built on criminal foundations. My phone buzzed, a text from Victoria. "We need to talk. Please. One last time." I agreed to meet them at their house, the one they would soon lose. My security team came with me. The mansion that once scared me now felt empty, built on lies. Victoria opened the door. No designer dress, just plain clothes. "Emily," she whispered. "Thank you for coming." Inside, Dad sat in his study. He looked old, broken. "The FBI contacted you?" he asked. "They did. And you can't stop this?" I sat down. "Did you stop mocking me for 10 years? Did you stop Victoria from humiliating me? Did you ever defend me?" "We didn't know," Victoria said. "That's the problem," I cut her off. "You never tried. You only judged." "The charges," Dad's voice shook. "They'll destroy us." "No, Dad. You destroyed everything. I only showed the truth." Victoria stepped forward. "Make a deal. Give Sterling back and you'll have recognition." I laughed. I never wanted recognition. I wanted a father who believed in me. Instead, I got a criminal and a cruel stepmother. I stood. "The FBI comes tomorrow. Get ready." "Emily, please," Dad called. "I'm still your father." I stopped at the door. "No. You're just another disappointment." 1 year later, I stood in my office watching the sunset. The headlines were gone. Sterling CO gets 15 years. Victoria Parker sentenced to 8. Parker Tech rises from Sterling's ashes. On my wall hung 2 frames. My old disappointment name tag. Beside it, my company motto: "Success isn't inherited, it's earned." My phone buzzed. A message from the prison warden. "Dad wanted to see me." Another from Claire, Victoria's daughter. "Thank you for saving my college fund. I never liked how they treated you." I smiled. I texted back. "Education matters. Don't let anyone take it from you." To the warden I replied, "No visit. The disappointment is busy running an honest business." Revenge wasn't just proving them wrong. It was building something real. That name tag wasn't the end. It was the start of my legacy, built on truth, not lies. And that was worth more than any family fortune.